Welcome back to Celebrio, where we break down the stories Hollywood hopes stay buried. And today we're stepping into dangerous territory because the line between justice and revenge has officially vanished. Curtis 50 Cent Jackson has just dropped a 4-part Netflix docuseries called Sean Combs: The Reckoning. And insiders say this isn't a documentary, it's a calculated takedown. What makes it explosive is the evidence behind it. The series reportedly includes alleged private meltdown recordings of Diddy, filmed just 6 days before his arrest. Not rumors, not secondhand accounts. Actual footage of a man unraveling in real time, holed up in a Harlem hotel room, barking orders at his legal team, calling fixers, and scrambling as his empire collapses. And the most chilling part? He recorded it all himself. A mogul obsessed with documenting power accidentally captured his own downfall. And now those tapes are about to be seen by the world. Then comes the line that freezes the room.
Hey, I really don't know what's going on with you, but I just want to just give you a heads up that I'm about to really disappear on you. You feel me? I'm not going to be playing these games with you at all. So I don't know, you think you silent treating me, and you think I'm going to be, nah, you'll have a rude awakening.
We need somebody who's dealt in the dirtiest of dirty media and propaganda. That's not gossip, it's an on-tape admission. It shows Combs knew the public war was already lost before the first gavel ever dropped. And once 50 Cent got his hands on that footage, it stopped being evidence and became a spectacle. But this isn't just a mogul panicking on the edge of collapse. It's the climax of a 2-decade feud, finally going nuclear. The tension between 50 and Diddy has always been personal, and now the stakes are brutal. Sources say 50 didn't stumble onto these tapes by accident. He allegedly paid for access through people deep inside Combs' inner circle. The irony is savage.
A new Netflix docuseries about Sean Diddy Combs is making headlines for its never-before-seen footage of the music mogul in the days before his arrest. Now, Combs is threatening legal action against the streamer for airing the unauthorized footage. Behind the series is Combs' longtime rap rival 50 Cent and director Alexandria Stapleton.
Diddy had been filming his life since he was 19, believing total documentation meant total control, even planning his own tell-all. Instead, 50 flipped that archive into a weapon and beat him to the punch. And the timing couldn't be colder. Combs is now serving a 50-month sentence in a low-security New Jersey facility with appeals still pending, while new lawsuits keep piling up, each one tightening the pressure from every direction. And now the story gets even messier. While Netflix insists this is not a hit piece, Combs' legal team is saying the exact opposite. They fired off cease and desist letters, accusing the streamer of using stolen material and crossing serious legal lines. Their claim is that the footage, including private conversations involving Combs' attorneys, was never meant for public release and was obtained through questionable channels. Netflix isn't backing down. Director Alexandria Stapleton has publicly stated the footage was acquired legally and that the production took steps to protect its sources. Neither side looks ready to blink. But let's be real, this isn't just about legal fine print. It's about optics, and the optics are brutal. The documentary doesn't just revisit allegations, it frames them as part of a long-running pattern built on control, power, and the belief that the rules never applied.
Does he know y'all have this in the doc?
I would doubt he knows.
So when this airs, that'll be the first time that his legal team, Diddy, that everybody knows that this footage is now seeing the light of day. Perhaps. What was he intending to use it for?
I have no idea.
And the family angle makes it even heavier. While Combs' twins and relatives have shown up in court in what insiders called a display of unity, the documentary has reportedly sent shockwaves through his inner circle behind closed doors. Whispers say some of his children were visibly shaken after seeing early cuts, especially the raw, pre-arrest meltdown footage that strips away the untouchable image completely. These are the same kids who just months ago delivered emotional statements to the judge asking for leniency, painting a very different picture of the man they knew. Now they're reportedly being forced to reconcile two versions of their father, the one they defended in court and the one presented in The Reckoning. A man who, according to the footage, seemed more focused on controlling the narrative than facing consequences head-on. And don't ignore the timing of this drop. It lands right as Combs' legal team is preparing an appeal, as new civil lawsuits keep surfacing, and as public obsession with his downfall hits a boiling point. Every move feels deliberate, every release perfectly placed, which raises the question nobody can shake. Is 50 Cent really doing this for the victims like he claims? Or is this the final strike in a long-running personal war? The two have never hidden their dislike for each other, and this documentary has reignited serious debate about motive. Jackson says staying silent would make it seem like hip-hop condoned Combs' alleged behavior, but skeptics aren't buying it. Critics point to years of bad blood, from Diddy's infamous comment at Chris Lighty's wedding, which 50 later described as a thinly veiled proposition, to claims involving 50's former partner, Daphne Joy. Reports allege Combs paid her a monthly stipend tied to his private gatherings, adding gasoline to an already raging fire. Then there's the leaked audio that turned heads everywhere. In it, Combs is allegedly heard berating Joy for ignoring him, warning her payments would be cut if she didn't get back to work. When you line that up with this documentary dropping while Combs is locked up and unable to respond in real time, the whole situation feels anything but accidental. At the same time, the legal fallout keeps snowballing. Combs' team has hinted at taking further action against Netflix, arguing that the use of private recordings, especially conversations involving his attorneys, crosses into attorney-client privilege territory. Netflix isn't blinking, though, framing the series as a necessary reckoning meant to expose what they call a decades-long pattern backed by evidence. And it doesn't stop with the tapes. The series reportedly digs into everything from long-circulating claims tied to the 1996 Tupac Shakur homicide, where former associate Keffi D has alleged Combs offered $1 million bounty, to testimonies from women like Joy Dickerson-Neal, who has claimed she was exploited and recorded without consent in the early 1990s. Each piece adds another layer to a story that keeps getting darker. Then there's the money angle, and it's raising serious eyebrows. Insiders claim Combs was moving millions overseas in the days leading up to his arrest, a detail that, if proven, could resurface ongoing RICO-related investigations. But the most chilling part of the reckoning isn't even what it shows, it's what it suggests is still buried. Because Combs recorded everything. That raises the real question: what else is out there? The documentary hints at a massive vault of unreleased material, from infamous private gatherings to behind-the-scenes interactions with high-profile figures who have since gone silent. And with 50 Cent positioned as the architect behind this takedown, it's no longer just about what's being revealed, but what's being deliberately held back. Because if this truly is a reckoning, it's far from finished. One explosive frame after another. Now pull the curtain back even further. Sources familiar with both camps say 50 Cent's documentary feels less like entertainment and more like a surgical strike. They insist this isn't only about exposing the truth, it's about settling a score that's deeply personal and carefully calculated. The meltdown tapes don't just look damaging. Critics say they carry 50's fingerprints all over them. This series doesn't simply air Diddy's dirty laundry, it puts it under a spotlight that never shuts off. It weaponizes his own voice, his own panic, turning private moments of desperation into public ammunition, and the timing couldn't be more brutal. Combs is locked away, his legal team scrambling, his family stuck in damage control mode, while 50 lets the footage speak for itself. But here's the twist insiders keep stressing. The most damaging part isn't just the tapes, it's the pattern they reveal. Alleged payoffs, frantic calls to fixers, and a man who spent years controlling the narrative now forced to watch his own words tear that image apart. In the pre-arrest recordings, Combs is heard strategizing with his lawyer, his tone swinging between confidence and panic as he talks about finding someone who's dealt in the dirtiest corners of media warfare. Netflix continues to stand firm on the legality of the footage, while Combs' legal team calls it stolen, labeling it a massive invasion of privacy and openly threatening further action. And that's what makes this moment so volatile. This isn't just a documentary drop, it's a pressure cooker, and with every frame released, the fallout only gets louder. The battle lines are drawn, and neither side looks ready to step back. But the question refuses to go away. If these tapes were originally meant for Combs' own documentary, why didn't he lock them down? Was it pure arrogance, believing no one would ever dare turn them against him? Or something darker, a belief that his influence still ran deep enough to bury anything truly damaging? Either way, the irony is ruthless. The man who built an empire on image control now has his most exposed moments streaming on Netflix, with 50 Cent sitting in the executive producer chair, quietly pulling the strings. This isn't just about embarrassment anymore, it's about power, and who gets to wield it when everything collapses. Then there's the money trail, which only adds more tension. Rumors continue to swirl that Combs was shifting assets overseas in the days leading up to his arrest. The documentary hints at it, but stops short of laying everything out. If proven, those moves could tie directly into the wider RICO investigations that once threatened to take him down entirely. Remember, Combs was acquitted of racketeering charges in the past, but prosecutors still painted him as a kingpin-style figure, surrounded by loyalists who allegedly helped shield him from consequences. The series reportedly digs into those financial maneuvers, suggesting the tapes may only be scratching the surface. And according to one former associate speaking anonymously, what hasn't been shown yet could be even more damaging. Claims say Combs had a network of people ready to handle problems, whether that meant silencing accusers or quietly greasing palms. If true, this story is way bigger than a single documentary. And if federal investigators are still digging like some insiders claim, those tapes could be the domino that triggers another wave of indictments. One leak, one recording, and everything could explode all over again. But the family angle is where this turns into emotional warfare. Combs' twins have been his most visible defenders, standing by him in court, delivering emotional statements, even breaking down when verdicts were read. To many, it looked like kids rallying around their father at his lowest point. Critics see something else. They argue it also looked like a carefully staged PR moment that starts to crack under the weight of the allegations online. The contrast is hard to ignore. On one side, Diddy the devoted dad. On the other, Diddy the man allegedly caught on tape berating a former partner and accused of exploiting women for decades. The documentary leans straight into that contradiction. It humanizes him with family moments, then sharply cuts to testimonies that tell a completely different story. That editing feels intentional, forcing viewers to wrestle with the same question jurors face. How do you reconcile the quiet man in court with the desperate voice in a hotel room pleading on tape for a way out? And if that wasn't enough, another twist hits. The baby mama drama isn't background noise. It's front and center. 50 Cent's team reportedly leaned hard into the Daphne Joy revelations, not just because of her history with Combs, but because of what it represents, a pattern of blurred lines between power, business, and personal control. Treating relationships like transactions. Joy's alleged ties to Combs, the private gatherings, reported monthly payments, and leaked audio of Combs losing his temper all feed directly into the documentary's core argument. This wasn't about isolated encounters. It was about control, influence, and leverage. When 50's other ex, Shaniqua Tompkins, publicly dragged Joy back into the spotlight, calling her a pole performer from Las Vegas, it stopped being just messy drama. It became a reminder that Combs' world ran on secrets, and those secrets always came with a price. Now the fallout is spreading fast. Misa Hilton Brim, Combs' ex, and the mother of his eldest son, has reportedly been approached about her own tell-all project. Sources say it would be directed by the same filmmaker behind The Reckoning. Texts obtained by media outlets suggest Hilton Brim is open to framing the story around Combs' influence on hip-hop and the bad boy legacy, while exposing what happened behind closed doors. And that's where things get even heavier. Her appearance at the trial, arriving with a walker, was seen by many as a silent but powerful statement. Meanwhile, other former associates are reportedly debating whether to step forward. Some for exposure, some for money. But in this climate, staying quiet is no longer viewed as loyalty. It's starting to look less like loyalty and more like liability. Then comes the Shakur angle, and it hits like a bomb. The documentary doesn't just mention it in passing, it sits on former gang associate Keefe D's long-standing claim that Combs offered a $1 million bounty tied to Tupac Shakur's killing. The allegation isn't new, but placed next to the meltdown tapes, it suddenly feels heavier and harder to brush aside. The series frames this as part of a wider pattern, a man allegedly using money, influence, and connections to control outcomes, only to be boxed in by his own moves. Combs has always denied any role in Tupac's death, but the filmmakers highlight Keefe D's proffer agreement with law enforcement as a sign there may still be more beneath the surface. If renewed interest from investigators into Combs' past ties and West Coast tensions turns up anything new, this story could shift fast from scandal to something far bigger. And maybe the most chilling detail of all is how Combs' obsession with recording everything became his downfall. The documentary reportedly shows him filming himself in mirrors, ranting about accusers, even joking as the legal storm closed in. It's surreal. A man documenting his own collapse, convinced he was untouchable right up until reality caught up. The contrast is jarring. This is the same Diddy who mingled with presidents and supermodels, now exposed as a private figure spiraling behind closed doors. As the documentary stacks shock after shock, one thing becomes impossible to ignore. This isn't just about his past anymore. It's about what happens next. With civil lawsuits piling up, appeals still hanging in the air, and a Netflix series cementing his name in the headlines, the pressure isn't letting up anytime soon. The spotlight isn't moving. The real question isn't whether he survives the storm. It's what's left of the legacy when the dust finally settles. Will he be remembered as a mogul who reshaped culture, or as a cautionary tale about power, ego, and ambition gone unchecked? And with 50 Cent still hovering in the background, pulling threads and teasing more revelations, it's hard not to wonder how many tapes, secrets, and explosions are still waiting to drop. So this is where we leave it for now. A man who built an empire on control, now watching it slip through his fingers, one leak, one lawsuit, one betrayal at a time. What once looked untouchable is cracking in public, frame by frame. The reckoning isn't coming anymore. It's already here. And in a story this twisted, with grudges this deep and stakes this high, there's one question that won't go away. What's the one secret still buried? Is there something even 50 Cent hasn't exposed yet? Drop your theories in the comments. Hit that like button if this story had you locked in. Subscribe to Celebrial so you don't miss what comes next, and share this with someone who needs to see it. We're reading everything. Stay curious, stay alert, and remember, in hip-hop, it's never just music. It's power, ego, and consequences. Crowns don't come free, and every throne has a cost. See you on the next one.